Hello and welcome to Good Returns. My name is Shruti Sarkar. Today, we are honored and privileged to have Raja Gopal Menon, VP at Wazirex, here to dissect India's upcoming budget 2024. Before I start the question, I want to welcome you, Mr. Menon. And now I would want to know that, what is your overall expectation of the interim budget? A lot of analysts are discussing that, we can have a few, the government may focus on fiscal discipline this year. Um, but what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, great question, Shruti. So we have to understand, how this government operates. It's a very practical government. It's a very confident government. This is a government that does not believe in doing, giving last-minute doleouts before the elections. If you look at the last budget also, it was a similarly very muted budget. It was a very practical budget. So that's what we are expecting. It's going to be like a business as usual vote on account. And what we think is that maybe the FM is reserving all her presence for the new budget that she will present, that she's hoping to present when the new government is sworn in. So we are expecting more of the same business as usual, nothing spectacular, as she herself mentioned. But we hope that some optimizations can be made in the case of the crypto industry.
Right, sure. On that, do you think that the government will focus on some kind of fiscal discipline in the budget?
I think that the government, the guardrails for the fiscal, policy are already in place. I don't think this government is going to spend like drunken sailors. There could
Sure.
be a little bit of, a little bit of optimizations that will happen to some distressed classes. Some signaling might happen to certain sections of the audiences. But all in all, I don't expect, the government to come like Santa Claus. I expect more of the same. How this government has operated in 9 years, we've all seen. I expect more of that.
Right, sure. And is the cryptocurrency market expecting any kind of tax relief in this budget?
We are keeping our fingers crossed, Shruti, because what we are looking for is a reduction in the TDS from 1% to 0.01%. We hope that
Sure.
that will happen because what has happened is that this 1% has severely impacted the volumes of crypto exchanges. That is one thing that we are hoping that the finance minister implements. The other thing that
Right.
we are looking for is, there's a 30% tax on crypto profits. But you
Most
cannot
assets,
set it
yes.
up, correct. You
Sure.
cannot set it up for losses. So we are hoping that set-offs are allowed, and crypto is treated like other securities like shares and derivatives. So those are the two most important things that we have set our hearts on. Let's hope that the FM can make these small minor tweaks in the case of the crypto industry, because we are the volumes have dwindled substantially because of these two measures.
Right, sure. Um, so, so everybody, including our prime minister, has been speaking about India becoming a $5 trillion economy, and very soon. How do you think the crypto market will contribute to the economy?
The same way that the Infosys and TCS and the Wipros, created that IT revolution in the 90s, we are all, children of that revolution. Actually, the entire middle class is a creation of that revolution. So, India is again at that crossroads where the crypto industry can actually provide the next, boom, as it were, to create an entirely new middle class, because the crypto industry can do a couple of things really well. One is that it removes the intermediaries. So, we are a nation of content creators. As you know, you open YouTube and Instagram, you're flooded by Indian content. And this Indian creators are unfortunately getting only, 50% to 40 to 50% of the revenues that are generated on the content. Now, crypto equalizes that. You can retain up to 98% of all the revenues that you create if you use crypto. That is one. Two is that, imagine crypto on top of an Aadhaar stack. We all know that before this government, half of India was unbanked. Now they have bank accounts, but they're still underbanked. They still need life insurance, they need crop insurance, they need loans, they need microfinance. Crypto is a force enabler, it's a force multiplier that can happen to all these underprivileged sections of society. So all in all, the crypto industry can work very well within the guidelines specified by the government to contribute to India's growth and make it a $5 trillion economy sooner than later.
Nice. That's a very interesting answer. Now, because you spoke about TCS and Infosys, and how they add to the revenue, isn't crypto a little bit more riskier than, say, IT company?
It is. But you have to understand that it is still a very young sector, and all of us remember how we were in our teens. We are very
Sure.
volatile. So
Right.
this industry is just 15 years old. Bitcoin is just 15 years old. Ethereum was founded in 2016. It went live in 2017. So these are all growing pains that any industry goes through. There
Right.
are a lot of experiments that are happening. Just like the dot-com boom. If you remember the dot-com boom in 2000s, thousands of companies were launched, but you have only the Amazons, the YouTubes that remain. So there will be 1,000 experiments, but those 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 that survive will truly transform our lives. That's what we are witnessing at this point of time. So the idea is to allow this revolution to happen, to play it out the way it is going to play out, and then bet on the winners, and hopefully this will be truly transformative.
Sure. Sure. My next question to you is, we all want to know that what do you expect how cryptocurrency, the whole market will perform this year? What is the
So
expectation?
Shruti, we'll have to look at how Bitcoin, which is the OG of crypto, did last year. So in last year, in 2023, when it was height of the bear market, it was gloom and doom the world over. Bitcoin did 150% return in just one
Right.
year, in the worst of times. So that is what it did in 2023. So 2024, we've already had so many big news happening. You had, Bitcoin ETFs happening. Now in April, you'll have, the halving happening where there is going to be a supply shock. So the amount of Bitcoin that are going to be produced is going to be reduced by half. And you have this
Right.
wall of institutional money that is going to come in. So, what is going to happen? Any economic student will tell you that, demand and supply, if the supply becomes half, prices will go up. That is what we expect. So 2024 is, we believe that after the halving is going to be the beginning of a bull market, which will go on till 2025. So 2024 we are in a very interesting time at this point of time. So if you have to buy cryptos, I can't advise you, but now is a good time to look at cryptos, because
Yeah.
2024 is going to be a great year for cryptos, is what all the analysts say. And I sort of agree with them.
Sure, sure. Now that you said that this is interesting times, let's talk about the downside risks. And every market, every asset class is probably impacted by the ongoing war, and then globally, inflation is up. Although India is in a much better situation now, inflation is under control, and we're expecting modest GDP growth. However, there could be some downside risks to the crypto as a market. So, what are the risks that you see as of now?
So Shruti, first of all, this is not a market for the faint-hearted, crypto. In if you look at conventional stock markets, you have circuit breakers. If a stock does more than a certain percentage, the circuit won't, trading is automatically stopped. Similarly, when it crashes below a certain percentage, there are guardrails in place for stock markets. There are no such
Mhm.
guardrails in the crypto market. So 20% up and down is on par. No one, bats an eyelid. But if you're new to the sector, you'll get blood pressure just monitoring a couple of your cryptos if it goes up by 20% and crashes by 30% that same day. So it's extremely volatile. Second thing that you have to remember is that the crypto markets are open 24/7, 365 days a year. So, unlike the stock markets, which don't work on weekends, there are no holidays for crypto. So, while you were sleeping, if something happens in China or Russia or halfway around the world, it will impact the markets. And when you wake up and check out your screens, you could be in for a rude surprise. So, A, it is volatile. It is, it's, 24/7. Uh, so what you would do is that, and every time there is a bull market, 30 to 40% drawdowns are always happen. So whether it is Bitcoin or Ethereum, there is a 30% pullback that happens in any bull run. So that is expected. So it would be advisable, if you are a new investor, to dip your toes into this volatile world. Invest money that you are willing to lose. Like, if you go out on weekends, you anyway spend between 5 to 6,000 bucks on a weeknight out. That is what you
Sure.
should be looking at investing. So you, even if the markets go down substantially, you don't feel all that bad. And invest in a disciplined manner over a period of time. So make volatility your friend. So if you invest, say, about 2,000 bucks every week, it's not too much, but your costs get averaged out. It's exactly like how you would invest in a mutual fund with a long term horizon. So if you do that, do all the things that I've just asked you to do over a long period of time, you will be really very surprised at the returns that crypto can give you.
Right, sure. Thank you. Those were really nice answers. Just one last question. You spoke about new investors. So, if do you have any advice for people who are new, not only like new and young investors, but there are several people at home. My mother would want to invest in crypto, but probably there is much less awareness. And if you had to give some advice to newer investors in the market, what would that be?
So the biggest advice, Shruti, that I can give for all the new investors. Now, what is going to happen? Let me tell you. In 2024, you will hear Bitcoin is going to buzz. Everyone will be talking about Bitcoin. Everyone, and when the auto rickshaw drivers and your panwala start telling you, talking about
Mhm.
Bitcoin, that is when you should be worried. So this is also the time for scams. So a lot of people will come and tell you, I will list this coin on WazirX. Right now, it's available out of the market. You just have to invest 10,000 bucks. The moment it gets on WazirX, it will double, triple, 10x the value. Does not work that way. So invest in coins that have been there for a long period of time, that have survived multiple crashes. So, look at invest in exchanges that are compliant with Indian tax laws and government laws. Don't try to save a little bit of money by and try to act too smart by trying to invest in foreign exchanges that are way beyond the reach of you, me, and the Indian government. So be happy, work with Indian exchanges like WazirX, and there are a couple of other exchanges. Do
Sure.
not, and if anyone promises you something that is too good to be true, that sounds too good to be true, it is a scam. Run away from that person or that idea, because it's nothing turns like gold, overnight. You just have to invest in a disciplined manner over a period of time. It's not lottery, but the returns are outsized and so are the risks. So beware of scams. Invest in trustworthy exchanges, and don't invest. And those are the two most important things that any new investor should be always be wary of.
Right, right. Sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Menon, for your time. Those were lovely answers.